Yo, what's up, guys? Today we're checking out a game that I've been wanting to try for quite a while. This is Remnant 2. Now, if you played the first game, you know what to expect. The first game came out in 2019. It was called Remnant from the Ashes. And at the time, people kind of tried to call it like a third person shooter Souls-like. There's not a lot of games that fit into that category. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. There's a few, but Remnant was, very unique in the way that it went about things. And I didn't play that when it first came out, but I eventually did give it a try on the PlayStation Plus game catalog. And I gotta say, when I played it, it just felt a little old and like, janky. That's the best word for it, is jank. It wasn't horrible, but it was just not what I was trying to play, and I was trying my hardest to get into Souls-like games at the time, so I hadn't figured out how to do that yet, and that might have factored in as well, but overall the game just felt old to me. Even though it was only 4 years old, it just felt older than that, because this isn't from a huge studio, so I guess it's not what I was used to, and I was too spoiled to play it. But then I kept seeing videos and reviews for Remnant 2, and they kept saying how basically it was more of what we had from Remnant from the Ashes, but so much better, so much more polished, so much more to do, so much more variety, and still that same level of difficulty. As you see, I'm doing a boss battle here. This is one of the first ones, so no spoilers, but it's not an easy game. And you can play this whole game in co-op, which is pretty wild because that just makes it even more fun. And you can play the first one in co-op too. That was initially why I was so interested, because I was like, maybe I could play this with my brother or someone else. But it just never came to be because I couldn't get into it. But then Remnant 2, I had high hopes for. I'm not going to lie. I really thought I was going to love this game. And we'll figure out whether or not I liked it, loved it, hated it in this video. We're going to go talk about it for sure. But I will say that I had avoided purchasing this game several times. I'd seen it on sale. I'd seen it for like $30, maybe even less. And I didn't buy it because I had a feeling it was going to get added to the PlayStation Plus game catalog eventually, which it hasn't yet. But when I got an Xbox Series S, I had Xbox Game Pass access, and the game's on there. So at last, I could finally try this out. And one thing that I noticed right away, and this might be just because I'm playing it on a Series S, but the textures do not always load in quickly. Like, a lot of the times, the game looks like trash. And it's not that it runs bad frame rate wise, that seems okay, but like the textures pop in is just not something I'm used to seeing in games. But then again, I've been playing everything on a PS5 for like the past several years, so I'm just used to that. But I still gave this game a chance, and when it came to playing through the intro, it was a bit longer than I expected because you play through it a lot before you pick your class, and whenever you finally get to your home base, which is where I'm at now, and there's all these people, you start to meet people who become vendors or people who follow you on missions, or places where you can do certain things. And one of these people is where you go to choose your class for the first time. And there's 4 different classes, which we're going to go through here right in a second. Right now I'm just showing you what the inventory looks like because it was offering me traits or something, and I'm like, I don't know what to pick, obviously, because I'm fucking brand new to this, so I'm lost. But yeah, then after we go through this little part, we'll be jumping into the classes right here, the archetypes as they call them. So the medic, which sounded cool, but it seemed like a lot of the abilities would be more beneficial when you're playing with friends, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to play solo or not. And we got the hunter, who's more of a ranged character. Looks cool. I like the intros to all these characters, and they each have 3 skills plus a prime perk. We got the challenger, who's more like a tank type. He's really badass looking, and I almost went with him, but I ended up going with the handler just because you have a dog with you, and if you're playing solo, it seems like the best class for that. And who's gonna pass on having a dog, right? So I went with the handler, and then it was off into the world to finally do missions that were not necessarily part of the tutorial. And the thing about this that you'll notice, for one, there's a ton of different areas to visit on the map compared to the last game. The last game had some cool, like a variety of areas. I'm not gonna say it was super small, but this has way more. and I like how you navigate through this stone. But when you get in them, I believe they are procedurally generated. So you're going to find a lot of variety where you go, depending on what playthrough you're playing through, because it's just not always going to be the exact same. And now we get to the actual gameplay part. It's, like I said, not an easy game. This is, once again, people have called it a Souls-like game. You know, Souls games are hard, and you know there will be some backtracking and yada yada, all the stuff you're used to. It's pretty prevalent here. This isn't a Souls clone or anything like though. It's just got some traits from those games, and difficulty is definitely one of them. Now the gunplay, I did like the gunplay. I will be honest, but there's like a snap effect when you aim. Like it pulls to the people you're aiming at, so it helps you out a lot there. But you could probably turn that off, of course. But these enemies are so cool, especially in this first area. They just looked awesome, and they were, I would say they were pretty terrifying, but not like horror levels of terrifying. They're just creepy, and you know they're powerful. But you know you've got a variety of weapon types. Like you can choose. I mean, not necessarily from the start, do you? But you will eventually be able to choose from so many types of weapons. I had like a single shot rifle at first, and then I started getting this like auto rifle. The pistol's really fun to use, and then you know it's not something that you're just gonna be able to like tap 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 shoot shoot and then like not really think about what else is going on. Like you're gonna have to time rolls. You're going to have to time your abilities, and there's gonna be some enemies that you just may not be able to take out quite as easily as you were expecting. Now the checkpoints, these are quite you know easy to understand. They're just like everything else in the Souls games. Like when you know set at a checkpoint, your health goes up. You replenish your health, consumables, and enemies respawn. And I know the enemies I just killed here didn't respawn, but anytime you go to a different checkpoint, the ones behind you, they do respawn. And you know what to expect with that. And this is the area where I finally started to realize, okay, this is not going to be easy. Like these people are overwhelming me. There's tons of enemies coming at me at once, and I like the challenge, but at the same time, I wasn't loving the game enough to push through the challenge. Like it was all right, but I just didn't love it. It still had that feeling of jank that I felt from the last game. It was better. Don't get me wrong. This is way better than the first one. It's not worse in any way, but it just still it wasn't on the level of what I was hoping for. So if I'm going to play a Souls-like game, I'm probably going to stick to something more like hand-to-hand combat rather than with guns, I guess, because I'm just so used to a certain type of shooter when I play a shooter. Now, I won't say this is bad, especially if you have friends to play this with. Check it out. It's on Xbox Game Pass, and you can find it for sale quite often on other platforms. But me personally, again, this is just a game I didn't love. No particular reason on that. But if you enjoyed watching this video, leave a like below, comment what you're thinking of Remnant 2, and any suggestions you have for other games I should check out on Xbox Game Pass. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I do videos like this all the time. I appreciate you watching this one. I'll see you in another one soon. Peace out.